to breathe and close your eyes, and that's how you read between the lines. Just remember to breathe and turn aside, 'cause that's where all the answers lie. So easy to get swept away, hypnotized, caught up in the fray. When things don't go your way, realize it'll be okay. If you remember to breathe and close your eyes, you'll be able to read between the lines. Just remember to breathe and turn inside, 'cause that's where all the answers lie. Breathe in, breathe out. And that's what life is all about. Breathe in the here and now. Forever I'll be breathing out. Breathe in, breathe out. And that's what life is all about. Breathe in the here and now. Forever I'll be breathing out. Breathe in, breathe out. Shri-ram, Jai-ram, Jai-Jai-ram. Breathe in, breathe out. Shri-ram, Jai-ram, Jai-Jai-ram. Breathe in, breathe out. Shri-ram, Jai-ram, Jai-Jai-ram. Breathe in, breathe out. Forever I'll be breathing
Are you breathing? Breathing in, breathing out, being present to this very moment, which is where the presence is, right here. Well, I'm Reverend Abigail Schairer, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to Center for Spiritual Living. This is Seattle's version of Centers for Spiritual Living, and I'm grateful to be here and to talk about what's Unwritten. That's my theme today. And I was looking up a parable that would be appropriate, but I found this little story about a criminal. And this was way back in the day. This was a criminal, and he had committed a terrible, terrible crime. And he was sent to the king for his punishment. Now, the king told him that he had a choice of two punishments. He could either be hung by the rope, or he could take whatever is behind that big, ominous door. And I mean, the door had chains and locks and everything on it. It was pretty ominous. And so the prisoner was like, yeah, I'll take the rope. And while the king is putting the rope around his neck and everything, the criminal says, what is behind that door anyway? And so the king says, well, it's very funny because I've only had one person pick the door, and everybody picks the rope. And it's like people always want to pick the rope because it's something that they know, but the door is unknown, and it could be anything, right? And the prisoner's like, yeah, right. So he said, well, I unlocked the door, and it just leads to your freedom. But you chose the rope. You see, it seems most people are afraid of the unknown, that they immediately take the rope. And that's a story by Karen Salmonson. And I thought it was appropriate because right now, we may be constricted and we may be in a place where we think that everything is terrible and the only way we could look for a way out is by something that is known. And maybe the known is the thing that is the worst thing for us, while the unknown mystery is the best thing for us. Because I would rather have my freedom than be chained by the hell that was before. And I know that this is a very unusual time, that we're in this place where I'm talking to a video camera and there's, our two musicians are here hanging out, and that's my big audience. But I have all of you out there, and you're on from around the globe. And I recognize and know that we're in a journey of change right now, that we're in this place of a different paradigm. And what I know is that humans unfold from a limitless potential. And that limitless potential is it can bring into form anything that we could conceive or believe, even greater than we can conceive or believe, because what I call the limitless potential, I call God. I call source, energy. I call it life. I call it the infinite great creator. And you might call it something else. You might call it the force or the universe or the quantum field. It doesn't matter what you call it. It is that thing from which all things spring forth. And what I know about life itself is that anything that's already happened means that everything is available. So the past is not the precedent for our future. We keep repeating the past because we're connected to it. We pick that rope over and over. But there can be the opportunity to be open to the newer, greater, evolutionary beingness. And what I love about things that are in evolution, which is life. Life is always evolving, right? Spirit is always evolving itself into the highest possibility of itself, that we're on, this life is an evolutionary edge of possibility. And the interesting thing about evolution is it comes through great leaps and bounds through chaos. That's the crazy thing about life, is something has to disintegrate and dissolve, and then chaos happens, and from that chaos, the new thing that was different than it was before emerges. It evolves into that next level. And last week we talked about the caterpillar and the chrysalis and becoming goo and having imaginal cells. And the imaginal cells are the formation of the butterfly. And they're contained within the caterpillar, but they're not even expressed until the caterpillar becomes goo. So right now on this time period, we're in a space of goo. We're in the space of like the gooey ickiness of the dissolving point. And it can be difficult and challenging. And that's what I've noticed for me, that it's been a little difficult and challenging. But I was watching the Association for Global New Thought. They brought a whole bunch of New Thought leaders together just to do an hour and a half talk about what's going on. And so I'm going to give you a couple of these golden nuggets that I took from that talk. And one nugget was from Reverend Howard Caesar, and he talked about this life, that earth is like a school. And we sign up for different life courses. We have our own individual life courses that we've been taking, and some of those life courses involve challenges. But we're now in the same classroom at this time period, and we're all taking the same course. And the question is, how are we handling this pandemic? How will you handle this? How are you handling it? And how we handle this is the real issue to who we are. It's the question that brings forth, not that it's happening, but how are we stepping forth into what's happening? How are we embracing, and what are we becoming through what's happening? That's really what the question is. And what I know is that crisis gives us an opportunity to know ourselves better, and so this global crisis is giving us an opportunity to know each other and ourselves better. And every leader, from spiritual leaders to business leaders to global world leaders, are in the same place of having this be a decision point. It's like the point of fire. What is happening? What is transforming? And what is burning away? And who are you becoming within it? And everybody is taking the same test. We're all here together. And some are doing amazingly well, and some are floundering. And I wonder, what are you calling forth in your life? See, Howard Caesar talked about Wayne Dyer, and Wayne Dyer had this whole thing about an orange. And he asked a student of his, he says, what happens when you squeeze an orange? And the student's like, you get orange juice. And Wayne Dyer was like, yeah, that's exactly it. You get orange juice, because this is one of our great lessons in life. What comes out of you when life squeezes you? If something happens in life that you don't like, whatever's coming out of you came from the inside. So whatever's coming out was who you are. And what's inside of you is up to you. It's your choice. And perhaps what's coming out may be not who you want to be, but what was put there was something from your past. And whenever you get squeezed and what comes out is anger or malice, then perhaps it's a time to look at, is that what I want to be in the world? And is that what I want to have come out of me when I'm squeezed, or would I have love come out of me instead? And it's a really good question, because I feel like the pressure is on for all of us. And I'm not talking about spiritual bypass. Spiritual bypass is whenever you are not aware of what's going on, and you're like, oh, I'm just looking at the good, and there's no pandemic, it's not real. Well, that's not true. There is a pandemic, and it's real, and it's happening, and it's affecting people. And it's hard, and it's difficult, and it's squeezing people, and it's squeezing me too. As a matter of fact, when humans are stressed and we think our survival is threatened, then we go into fight, flight, or freeze mode, and our thinking brain shuts down. And in survival mode, people are not necessarily able to see the bigger picture. But the beautiful thing, if you recognize that you're in survival mode, is to start from where you are. And the easiest place to start is from your breathing. To breathe in and breathe out. And start becoming present to the presence. To become present to the beauty that is around you. You know, I could be trying to just make it through my day, or I could stop for a minute and I could notice what beauty is around me. I I love these, we have these tulips here, and I love that all around this Green Lake, our building, that a whole bunch of community members planted bulbs, and they're coming up. And I love that Reverend Patrick posted a video online on Facebook showing all the beauty that's around this building, so we could all have an opportunity to see it from our homes. And there's so many things that I'm noticing are going on that I love and appreciate, and I have to stop and pay attention. So I invite you to stop in this moment and pay attention to what's going on. Pay attention to the beauty that's around you. I also want to recognize that there's a lot of pain happening. And it's happening to me too. So I was down on my back literally on Thursday. I could not move. I could not put my own shoes on. I couldn't bend over. And I had this shooting pain up and down my back. It's mostly gone, but it's not fully gone. And I was able to go to my chiropractor, who's seeing one patient at a time in between lots of space and sanitization. And the thing that I really love about her, she's a chiropractor, shaman, healer, is she's able to identify if the pain that I'm experiencing is just physical or if it's emotional. Now, this weekend was supposed to be the weekend where I was facilitating Sister Spirit. And Sister Spirit Retreat is a retreat I've been doing for 14 years. It is so much fun, and I laugh so hard, and some of the people that I've had in my life for a really long time, including my mom, I get to hang out with, I get to laugh, we create, we bond, we cry, it's amazing, and it's one of the most transformative things I've been a part of in my entire life, and that was supposed to be this weekend. As a matter of fact, when my back started hurting, it was Wednesday night, and that's when we were supposed to be at Sister Spirit. And she asked me, have you grieved this? And the answer was no. I didn't get to acknowledge the fact that we were sold out, and I was looking forward to having all these amazing people. We had Ricky Byers as our music, and it was just like this dream that I had that was destroyed. And I'm sad about it. I'm sad, and my heart is broken, and I wish it could happen, but that's not what's happening. Something else, life decided to put something else. Life decided to show up in a different way. And so I wasn't tuned into my grief. And because I wasn't tuned into my grief and I was just avoiding it, I got knocked out flat on my back, and then I had to face my grief. And you might be doing that too. It's important that we feel our feelings. It's important that we acknowledge that we're going through grief. So many people, so many of my friends have lost their jobs. So many musicians and artists are like, wow, I got one gig. And they're looking for ways to be creative. And so there's this great time of possibility and creativity of like, I'm looking for new ways to be. And at the same time, I'm in the midst of my grief. I know so many people who've recently lost a parent, or their child's going through a health condition, or their animal died, and it just seems like it's compounded upon what's already happening. So what do I do in this time? What I know is that when I grieve and my heart is broken, it breaks open, and I'm a more compassionate person. I recognize that compassion is an orientation towards suffering. It's a way of understanding and connecting with the heart of other people and myself on what's going on. And so what it is that I get to bring awareness or recognize and acknowledge what's going on, that there is suffering. So I get to acknowledge, yeah, I'm grieving, and it's hard, and I'm sad. And then I get to feel my suffering. I get to feel my grief. It's a real thing. But if I don't process it through, it's going to, maybe manifest in a way that I don't want it to. And in order to make an intention of being relieved of my suffering, I get to take action. And my action might just be sitting and being present with what's going on. And after I feel my emotions, the next action I can do is see how I can help others, make an impact in the world. That's a huge action that we can all do. And I invited all of us to participate in something called the kindness pandemic, which is taking little acts of kindness and spreading them out. I was driving along the other day, and there was this person who had made little gift packets outside their house, and they had them hanging by plastic baggies so people could grab them on their walks. I had a friend contact me and offer to make me a mask. I had so many people talk to me about what brilliant and beautiful things are going on. I am so shocked and in awe and in love with humanity right now. It's so amazing. I had my cousin sent me a note that her husband works in a hospital, and he's gotten, he's on the front lines, and he deals with coronavirus patients. He deals with people who have this. And so somebody they don't even know lent them their RV so he could come home and have a place to be in seclusion away from her and her small children and keep them safe. I have another person who told me that they decided to start a GoFundMe for one of their friends because they were sick and ill right now. So what are you doing to participate in the kindness pandemic? What are you doing to reach out, to have compassion and love for and with other people? I was thinking about another parable I looked up and found called the parable of the pencil. See, the pencil maker took the pencil aside, and just before putting the pencil in the box, she said, little pencil, there are 5 things that you need to know before you go out in the world. Always remember these 5 things, and you will become the best pencil you can be. And the first thing, little pencil, is know that you will do many great things, but only if you allow yourself to be held in someone else's hand. And I think that's an appropriate thing for us, is that we need to hold each other in our hands. And not physically, but in a way that we can support each other from afar. And this time in humanity is the first time, I think, ever that a pandemic has hit this planet, and we are able to grasp the hand of another figuratively across the ways, across the airwaves, the satellite waves, across from another part of the planet, somebody in Australia reaching apart to somebody here in Seattle, somebody in Seattle reaching to somebody in New York, people sending things, people sending masks and gowns all over the United States, all over the world that they're making in their homes. I mean, this is a time where we can really reach out and touch each other, even though we're physically distant. The second thing that the pencil maker said, she said, you will experience a painful sharpening from time to time, but you will need it to become a better pencil. And I think right now we are going through a painful sharpening. And I do believe that it's leading us to become a better humanity. The third thing she said is you'll be able to correct any mistakes you might make. Now, this pencil doesn't have much of an eraser, but that's because there's been a lot of mistakes made with it. And what I know about me making mistakes is it's important for me to forgive myself. It's important for me to forgive other people. And forgive means that we're giving forth our love back to the person. Whenever I have harmed somebody, I have removed my love from them. And so I'm giving it back forth to them. And it's also an opportunity to make amends, to make apologies for those times when we've made mistakes. So what I've noticed is that because I feel like I'm so empathic and I'm tuned in to what's going on, and we are all part of this one organism called humanity, I'm grieving, and when I'm grieving, I don't necessarily behave the best. And so I had some unskilled behavior with a friend the other day. And I hung up the phone, and I knew it had gone south, my phone call. And I was completely ashamed and really embarrassed. And what I did with my friend is, first I had to do some prayer. I called a practitioner because I needed some prayer. And then I realized that I was just exhibiting that expression of fear and sadness and loss, and I was taking it out on my friend. And so I needed to call my friend and apologize. And I did so, and I truly believe that it brought us together, deeper together, because I was willing to be humble and say, you know what, I'm a little off right now. And I am so sorry, and I love you so much. I apologize deeply to you because of my behavior, and I want you to know I love you so much. And it really made a huge difference in our relationship. So the fourth thing that the pencil maker recommended to the pencil is that the most important part of you will always be what's on the inside. And the fifth thing is, on every surface you're used on, you must be able to leave your mark no matter what the condition. You must continue to write. So what I know during this time is that this is a time where we're writing a new story for ourselves. Dr. Harry Morgan Moses said, before this was happening, we were very divided. And what's happened is the whole planet has gotten still. And we've said and noticed that there's only one planet, one humanity. You can't have something in China or Italy or in Africa that's not affecting the whole planet. We're all so interconnected that we are here, and we're globally affected by what's going on with each other. And so the living being within Earth has gotten upset and has created an impetus for us to pay attention to each other, to open our hearts to each other, to realize how interconnected we really are. And I see now how valuable that is. I see now how valuable it is to maintain my connection and to witness the beauty and participate in the interconnectedness of all life. What's really important is that what's come forth is the new normal will be a little bit of what was and a little bit of what we're seeking and dreaming for it to be. And the what was is what we know we love and feeds our hearts and souls. And what the newness of the new normal is going to be what we're dreaming of. See, again, we're in the field of infinite possibilities. But the way that creation starts is we get to dream it up. We get to write up how this future goes. We get to imagine it up. Dr. Tim Stewart says sometimes we take our next steps out of desire, and sometimes we take our next steps out of discomfort. So I'm wondering, what is your next step? What have you come here to do? Michael Beckwith had said, right now we're becoming more and never less. As a matter of fact, that's the way that spirit evolves. Spirit is ever becoming more. We are always evolving. And in the becoming of more, there is a releasing, a sloughing off, a letting go. And then there is an embracing of the next highest, greater yet to be. We're on this ever-evolving spiral upward. And we get to participate in this time, asking ourselves, what do I want to be when this is over? What do I want to be when I'm stepping into this new normal? What do I want to keep? And then what do I need to have go away? But what the important thing is, if you haven't asked those questions, is to get clear on what that is for you. And the next step after clarity is being present to the practice of your spiritual connection. Because in order for us to become what we want to be, we need to reconnect with our truth and with who we are. And so the only way to become the newness is to be in the space of that divine expression that is ever evolving itself in and through each and every one of us. Jesus said, some really bad things are going to happen, people. Well, he didn't say it like that, but he said, there's, ye shall have tribulation. I guess that's how he spoke in that day. Ye shall have tribulation. So in other words, some crappy things are going to happen. You're going to have a pandemic, and it's going to be hard. And then he said, be of good cheer. Now, that seems like, Abigail, oh my God, Jesus was talking about spiritual bypass. No, Jesus was not talking about spiritual bypass. Jesus was talking about that in order for me to be of good cheer, I have to be in the presence of that God that knows only love, only peace. And I get to be the embodiment of joy as I move forward. I get to be the embodiment of what it's like to be in a world of connection and compassion. I get to be the embodiment of what it's like to be an expression of love and light on this planet. And how do I get there? Because right now, if I'm feeling really off and I'm feeling disconnected and I'm feeling like everything is too much, the way to get there is by practicing your spiritual tools. That's the way to get there. And practice, practice, practice. So more than ever, this is the time. In order for us to be of good cheer, we need to tap in, tune in, get turned on with God right now. And the way to do that is through your prayer, through your meditation, through connecting, through having this opportunity to be a generous force for good in the world and to give of your services and your love to other people. That is how you are the person who is of good cheer. And that doesn't mean you're not going to have grief, and that doesn't mean you're not going to have human emotions, but in order to get to the space to transcend the trials and tribulations, you need to get back to the basics of your spiritual practice. So if you aren't doing that now, I encourage you to do it. And if you are doing it now, I encourage you to bump it up, because now's the time. We need each other. Barbara Marx Hubbard said, our crisis is our birth. And I watched this again from the Association of Global New Thought, a new minister, I hadn't heard of her, Reverend Sylvia Sumter, and she was so inspiring. She said, this is the moment where we're witnessing either one of two things. One, we're witnessing the spiritual awakening of the entire planet. Or the second thing is we're witnessing the spiritual destruction of the entire planet. And what is happening is up to us, because this is the moment. This is the time. This is the place. And she asked the question, have you thought that you are here to save the world? And maybe you haven't, but I invite you to think about that. Have you thought that you are here to save the world? You are here to save the world. You are here to be the embodiment of what it's like to be the new expression that is emerging in this world. You are here to be that. If the essence of life is within us, if the Shiva of life is within us, if we can breathe it in by the very air that we breathe, by the things that we eat, and the essence is within us, it cannot go away from us. If we are ever emerging in life, if we are ever evolving, then we must be at a place of evolution right now. We must be at a place where the spiritual essence of life is calling forth, calling deep unto deep, calling us forth into a new way of being. And I wonder if we will be a place that saves the world. I wonder if you will be the place that saves humanity. I wonder if this is our once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to make our mark. I wonder if this is the place where we get to be the people where they say the meek shall inherit the earth. Well, the meek are the people who are humble. The meek are the ones who are of service to the world. The meek are the people who are here to stand up for love, to take a stand and to be a force for good in the world. This is our opportunity. This is our moment to bring heaven onto earth. We get to bring it. There is great hell going on right now in people's lives. And what if each and every one of us can be a little piece of heaven, a little slice of heaven for each other? Can you imagine? Oprah Winfrey said, "You are the author of your own life. Don't let others define it for you. Real power comes to you by doing what you are meant to be doing and by doing it well." And I really want to encourage you to dream up what the next chapter is. Dream up what the next page of humanity is. What are they going to be writing about us in the history books? What are they going to be saying about us? This kindness pandemic is contagious. What are you going to write? What are you going to contribute? And what if you are the Savior? So I welcome you to consider that while I read a few lyrics from the song Unwritten by Natasha Bedingfield. She says, "I am unwritten. You can't read my mind. I'm undefined. I'm just beginning, the pen's in my hand. The ending is unplanned. Feel the rain on your skin. No one else can feel it for you. Only you can let it in. No one else can speak the words on your lips. Drench yourself in words unspoken. Today is where your book begins. The rest is still unwritten." So I encourage you to come with me and write a new chapter in this book called Humanity. And so it is. And let's pray. I'm so grateful to be a part of what's going on right now on the planet. I'm so honored and humbled that there's so many people that are here to uplift and shift and gift the world. I'm so grateful to know that new ways of being, new ways of operating are emerging from this goo. And I recognize and know that each and every one of us is here to be the Savior, to be the willing host of God's great genius, the vessels of revelation, the vessels of inspiration, the vessels of a renewal and a rededication to what it's like to be connected on a deep and profound level. I know and claim that it moves through me and it moves through all of humanity right here, right now. And it is so expansive and beautiful and expressive, and I'm reminded of it just by my breathing. I am present to the presence, and I'm so grateful, and I'm in awe and wonder of the unlimited possibility that is here before me. And I'm so grateful to be a tuning fork for humanity, a tuning fork for new possibility, a tuning fork for a new awareness, a new wave of inspiration. And so as I surrender into that love, to that life, I hear the harmony on the planet. I hear the waves of consciousness expanding. I hear and see and feel and embody and express this very truth right here, right now in my life. And I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to know that God shows up. Spirit shows up, life shows up, miracles show up, my neighbors show up, people show up in ways that are expected and unexpected, delightful and surprising, that crack my heart open, even in my grief. I'm so grateful. And so I just let this prayer go, knowing it touches our hearts and our souls and our minds and our spirits, and it motivates us to move to new awarenesses. And so I let this prayer go. And I let it be. And so it is. I love you all.